Hi Tracy, this is Professor Phillips, and I wanted to thank you for posting your discussion and also asking engaging questions and delving into the subject matter with your fellow students, and then maintaining your post as well. I think that you bring up a really good point, being that you have identified that your first experience with race was in Colorado Springs, in a demographic where it was 100% Caucasian, in your younger years, third or fourth grade, and an African American student moved in, and you say that you identify that it must have been difficult for her. So I want to say that being that you're able to identify with that is a good thing, and that you're able to empathize and sympathize and put yourself in somebody else's shoes. Secondly, I see that you are aware that in high school you had a more diverse experience, which then helped you to be able to seek opportunities to get to know people other than yourself. That is a very good point, because sometimes people just aren't in areas where they get those opportunities, and so then all they really get to see are the stereotypes, are movies, and they don't really get to find out what it's really like to have opportunities to become friends with people from other areas, and so they can tend to be narrow-minded. And there's two kind of categories that we put those people into. One, I would say, is ignorant, neither good nor bad. It's just that you're ignorant because you don't know, and that's usually because you haven't had experiences, right? The other category I would say is willful ignorance, where it's like, okay, you have had opportunities to know, but you still act like you don't know. And so then we can say, well, how are we going to educate that person as well, right? And so hopefully from these experiences, you have come out with a positive outlook to be able to be open and discuss these types of things with folks that opportunities that come up, and then with folks that are around. I think that everybody has a role to play in society, and being able to be open and willing to talk about issues is one role that anybody can play. And so I thank you for sharing your discussion topics and engaging your fellow classmates in these questions. And we're going to get into more topics about racial identity, and I'll be looking forward to your racial identity paper. And I think that being that you are, I believe you said you were Caucasian, or maybe I'm making that assumption by your photograph. But we are going to have some assessments where we're going to look at how we assess our own identity. And so I'll be giving those out to students rather soon. And if you are, I believe in the majority, if you're Caucasian, then you will be able to assess yourself from that standpoint. You can always put yourself in the African American's perspective if you are willing to do that. But we do have the ability to say where we are on these different scales. And one of the scales only pertains to African Americans. And so I'm going to be giving out other assessments to assess racial identity as well, so everybody can take part in that experience and write their paper. So let me know if you have any questions. And I see that even in Dr. Tatum's video, you bring up the point that there's been incredible progress with this country, and that we are moving backwards in some sense. And that is a shared experience, I think. I think that, like Dr. Tatum said, in different time frames, you feel like you're moving steps forward and then sometimes steps backward. I think sometimes it seems that way because what we see in the media, right? Like maybe back in the day there weren't like a lot of, cell phones and video cameras out there, so we didn't see a lot of the police brutality except a couple of moments on TV, but it was existing the whole time, right? So some people say, are we taking a step backwards, or were we always back there to begin with, and now we're just seeing it more because people record it and post it on social media, right? So there's pros and cons and different sides to each side of that story. But we can decide on where we fall later down in the semester when we delve into these topics some more. Thank you for sharing, and let me know if you have any questions, and I look forward to reading your racial autobiography paper. Take care. Bye.